Donald Trump is to be arraigned in a federal court later today. This is his second arraignment in a matter of months. Former president expected to plead not guilty to the 37 felony counts stemming from alleged mishandling of sensitive documents after leaving office. We're speaking with legal analyst Barry Covert about what will happen today. Barry, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
Arraignment's typically a standard procedural process. Can you lay out for us what will happen in that courtroom?
The judge will simply call his name, confirm that he has a lawyer, that the lawyer is retained, ask him how he pleads to the charges. Typically, his lawyer will waive a formal reading in court of the indictment. So it usually is a very short proceeding. The only long part could be in most cases where the judge asks the prosecution whether they're seeking a bail, and we could expect in this case that they're not seeking a bail.
And that is inside the courtroom. Meanwhile, outside the courtroom, of course, this situation far from typical with a former president being at the defendant's table. As a criminal defense attorney yourself, how much involvement would the both prosecutors and defense team, as well as the judge, be involved in what happens outside the court?
Very little. The judge may well listen to the prosecution's request, if there is one, for some type of a gag order or an order for both parties to not discuss this with the media. But there will be very little other discussion about what's happening outside, other than perhaps a request that the judge ask that both parties not talk to the media.
Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, Mr. Trump still faces pending charges in New York State and Manhattan related to charges of falsifying business records. Could that case, even though the charges are not related, come up at all in this federal case?
It could be mentioned today, but I would really doubt that there will be a mention to it, other than perhaps if the government is seeking a bail, saying, well, this is the second time he's now arrested. This is historic. We have a former president who now has two indictments against him, one in state court, one in federal court. But I really would doubt that. I would probably believe that the prosecution has spoken to the defense and they've already have an agreement regarding bail today. There's also a possibility that the prosecution tries to raise it as a trial issue, although I really don't see how that would come in to the trial of the federal case. The fact that he's indicted in state court, it's a low probability that's ever mentioned in federal court.
And we do, meanwhile, know that Trump plans to travel to his golf course in Bedminster, New Jersey tonight to speak. Could you venture a guess, Barry, when this may go to trial, if it gets to trial?
I would think that normally you're looking somewhere in the 1 year range, give or take, in federal court for a case to go through the discovery process, which means the prosecution and the defense to some extent, but mainly the prosecution, turns over to the defense all the discovery materials. The defense gets the time to look at those materials, then draft their motion to suppress, perhaps under the executive clause for different reasons. They may seek to suppress different evidence, the violation of the attorney-client privilege because his former lawyer was made to testify against him in the grand jury. So you bring all those motions, you draft them, you file them, then they get argued, and then the judge sets a trial date. And the judge could set a trial date today, but it's not a realistic trial date if the judge sets one today. But after you go through the discovery phase, the motion argument phase, then you have a trial come up. Usually it's about a year. In this case, I'm sure Trump's lawyers are going to seek additional time because the discovery is going to be voluminous. They're not going to be in any hurry here. They want this done, I assume, after the election. So I would suspect that the judge could try to have a trial before the election. That would not be too quick under our federal system, but more likely after the election next year.
All right, Barry Covert, I know you'll be watching this afternoon. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Time is 8:40.